Hello everyone. Now I'll be describing about the microsurgical anatomy of fourth ventricle. I am Dr. Mohammad Nadeem from the Department of Neurosurgery in IMHANS, Bangalore. Fourth ventricle is actually a tent-shaped structure that is present between the cerebellum as well as the brainstem. It extends rostrally through the aqueduct of Sylvius with the third ventricle, and it communicates with the cisterna magna through the foramen of Magendie. Before we go in detail about the fourth ventricle, I'll quickly brush up with the cerebellar surfaces. Coming to the first surface, that is the tentorial surface, it is that portion which is present just below the tentorium cerebelli, and it consists of the vermal components being colmen, declive and folium. The tentorial surface has two important fissures. This is the primary fissure and this is the postclival fissure. And accordingly, the quadrangular lobule corresponds to culmen, this being the primary fissure. Then we have the simple lobule corresponding to declive, and this is the postclival fissure. And this is the superior semilunar lobule corresponding to folium, and this is superior petrosal sinus draining into transverse sinus. Then we have what is called as the suboccipital surface of the cerebellum. It is that surface that is present between the transverse sinus as well as the sigmoid sinus. So the components being, the vermal components are part of folium and the superior semilunar lobule. Then we have the tuber along with inferior semilunar lobule. Then we have pyramid along with biventral lobule, and caudally we have uvula with tonsils hanging by the side of it. This configuration of tonsil and uvula mimics the configuration that is seen in the oropharynx, and hence the name. Coming to the petrosal surface, it is that portion of the cerebellum that faces the petrous bone. In this, the fourth ventricle invades into the petrosal surface, and we have lingula, central lobule and culmen that are present rostral to the fourth ventricle. And caudally, we have nodule as well as uvula, and this is tonsil, and other parts of the vermis being declive, folium, tuber and pyramid. Coming to fourth ventricle proper, whenever we describe fourth ventricle, we describe it with respect to three important locations. They are roof of the fourth ventricle, floor and two lateral recesses. The roof, as we see, is a tent-shaped structure, and it has an apex which is called as fastigium, and it is at this region of fastigium that the fourth ventricle has the maximum height as well as width, and laterally it extends up to the lateral recesses. And fastigium divides the roof into a superior part and an inferior part. The roof of now we will describe about upper part of the roof of the fourth ventricle. We have a ventricular surface and a cisternal surface. The ventricular surface has a median part formed by superior medullary venum and a lateral part formed by cerebellar peduncle. Coming to the ventricular surface of upper part of the roof, we have a thin sheet of white matter lamina which is present between the superior cerebellar peduncle, which is called superior medullary velum. It forms the medial part of the roof, and superior medullary velum is located quite lateral to the superior medullary velum, and hence it forms the lateral part. Coming to the cisternal surface of the upper part of the roof, here I would like to describe the cerebellomesencephalic fissure because it is in close relation with the cisternal surface. It is the fissure that is located between the midbrain as well as the cerebellum, and it is a V-shaped fissure. On the outer surface, it has a central lobule with the wing of central lobule in it. Then we have the culmen. The trochlear nerve arises from this fissure and progresses anteriorly. Coming to the inner surface of the cerebellomesencephalic fissure, it is formed by the lingula that sits over the superior medullary velum and the lateral surfaces of the superior cerebellar peduncle along with middle cerebellar peduncle contribute to the inner wall of the cisternal surface. Coming to the lower part of the roof, mainly the ventricular surface. The ventricular surface has two important parts, upper part and lower part. Upper part is formed by the nodule. Along with it, we have a butterfly-shaped semi-transparent membrane that extends downwards from the superior medullary velum, called as the inferior medullary velum, and their junction is called as the fastigium. This inferior medullary velum extends laterally up to the flocculus, hence completing the flocculonodular lobe of the cerebellum. Inferior portion of the roof is mainly formed by tila choroidae, which harbors within it a vascular structure called as the choroid plexus, and this junction between the inferior medullary velum and the tila choroidae is called as the telovelar junction, and it is deficient in three regions. This telochoroidae is deficient in three regions, that is the Luschka as well as in the foramen of Magendie. Coming to the cisternal surface of the lower part of the roof. To view the cisternal surface, it is necessary that we retract the cerebellar tonsils. And cisternal surface is closely related to an important fissure called as the cerebellomedullary fissure. It is that fissure that is located between the cerebellum and the medulla. This is the dorsal surface of the medulla. This is the tonsil, uvula, pyramid, and this structure that you see is the inferior medullary velum, and beneath it we have the tila choroidae, and this is the telovelar junction. The cerebellomedullary fissure has an inner surface which is formed by the medulla, inferior medullary velum, tila choroidae, and it has an outer wall which is formed by uvula, tonsil and biventral lobule. It is through this structure that the telochoroidae attaches, and it is called tinea. Coming to the lateral surface. Lateral surface of the fourth ventricle is mainly composed of the lateral recesses. They are pouch-shaped structures, as you can see in this inside these dotted lines that is present between the floor and the roof. This lateral surface consists of anterior wall, posterior wall, superior wall and inferior wall, and through the foramen of Luschka it communicates with the CP angle system. The anterior wall is mainly composed of the junctional part of the floor of the fourth ventricle and the rhombic lip. Rhombic lip is that structure that extends laterally from the junctional part of the floor and it connects with the tila choroidae. So tila choroidae actually forms the caudal part of the floor, and this structure which forms the roof of the lateral recess is inferior cerebellar peduncle. It sweeps in the floor and turns posteriorly to form the ventral surface of the rostral wall of the lateral recess, and this structure is the superior cerebellar peduncle. And as you can see here, the choroid plexus extends through the foramen of Luschka into the CP angle system, and the floccular lobe actually is present dorsal to the lateral recess, and the next diagram will show this relationship in detail. As you can see, this is the lateral recess communicating through the foramen of Luschka, and this is the floccular lobe that is present dorsal to it, and this particular fissure is the cerebellopontine fissure. It has a superior limb containing fifth nerve and an inferior limb containing 7th 8th complex which is present antero-superior to flocculus, and a 9th 10th complex which is present antero-inferior to it. And the cerebellopontine fissure communicates with the cerebellomesencephalic fissure in the region of fifth nerve, and it communicates with the cerebellomedullary fissure in the region of flocculus. Now let's discuss about the floor of the fourth ventricle. The floor of the fourth ventricle is actually a rhomboid structure with upper 2/3 formed by pons and lower 1/3 formed by medulla. It extends from aqueduct up to the obex, and laterally it extends up to the foramen of Luschka. Whenever we describe the floor of fourth ventricle, we divide it into three parts. One is the superior part, which is also called as the pontine part. Then we have the intermediate part or the junctional part. Then inferiorly we have the medullary part. As you can see here, The superior part is actually extending from the aqueduct up to the inferior margins of the cerebellar peduncle. The junctional part extends from the inferior part of the cerebellar peduncle up to tinea, and whatever portion beneath it is the inferior part. The floor of the fourth ventricle has an important longitudinal sulcus called as the median sulcus, which divides the fourth ventricular fold into two equal halves. Then lateral to it there is another sulcus which is called as sulcus limitans. This sulcus limitans has two important dimples, one in the pons called as the superior fovea and one in the medulla which is called as the inferior fovea. The superior fovea within it harbors the facial colliculus. This facial colliculus is actually containing abducent nucleus within it, and the seventh nerve turns around this abducent nucleus, giving an elevation in the floor of the fourth ventricle. Similarly, the inferior fovea medially has the vagal triangle, and superiorly, if we see, there is a bluish hue called as the locus ceruleus. And as I mentioned earlier, the inferior fovea, medial to it, we have what is called as the hypoglossal triangle containing the hypoglossal nucleus. Then inferior to the hypoglossal triangle, we have what is called as a vagal triangle, within which we have the dorsal nucleus of the vagal nerve. And extremely rostrally, we have what is called as the area posternum. Then we have a whitish structure that extends from the foramen of Luschka towards the midline, and this structure actually disappears as it reaches the midline. This whitish structure is nothing but the stria medullaris. The portion of the fourth ventricle that is lateral to the sulcus limitans is also called as the vestibular area. It has an elevation which is called as auditory tubercle, beneath which we have what is called as the dorsal nucleus of cochlear nerve. Coming to choroid plexus. Choroid plexus is extremely vascular structure, and the choroid plexus in the fourth ventricle is mainly located in the inferior part of the roof of the fourth ventricle. And this structure, as represented by the red color, is present within the tela choroida. Tela choroida is actually a double layered structure with thickness of that of arachnoid matter, and the choroid plexus is actually seen from the ventricular surface as fringes. They extend from the roof into the fourth ventricle, and they are involved in the secretion of CSF. As you can see here, the choroid plexus grossly looks in the form of the letter T, and if we divide it into two equal halves, we can see two structures which are in the form of letter L. So the choroid plexus has a median part called as the longitudinal limb, as well as a lateral part which is called as the transverse limb. The longitudinal part has a nodular part, and distally it has tonsillar part. And laterally there is peduncular part, and extreme laterally we have what is called as the floccular part. This floccular part of the choroid plexus is located anterior to the floccular lobe of the cerebellum. And this particular relationship can be seen in detail in the next diagram. As you can see here, the choroid plexus is protruding from the foramen of Luschka, and flocculus is located posterior to it. Coming to blood supply of choroid plexus, it is mainly supplied by pica, and sometimes to superior cerebellar artery. The posterior inferior cerebellar artery mainly supplies the longitudinal limb along with part of the peduncular part of the transverse limb, and the ICA supplies the floccular part as well as portion of the peduncular part of the choroid plexus. Rarely superior cerebellar artery can also supply, if so it supplies the floccular part. Coming to the vascular relationship, these are the three fissures, and the cerebellomesencephalic fissure actually contains the superior cerebellar artery along with the vein of cerebellomesencephalic fissure. Cerebellopontine fissure has ICA with it and the corresponding vein, and the the, 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 The superior cerebellar artery actually supplies the upper part of the roof, and the posterior inferior cerebellar artery supplies the lower part of the roof, and the anterior inferior cerebellar artery supplies the lateral recess, and the basilar artery along with vertebral artery gives a number of perforators that actually supply the floor of the fourth ventricle. There are certain veins, for example, the vein of the cerebellomesencephalic fissure along with superior cerebellar peduncular vein. They drain the corresponding fissure and the peduncle, and vein of cerebellomedullary fissure and inferior cerebellar peduncle drain the respective fissure and the peduncle. Similarly, we have cerebellopontine fissure vein and the middle cerebellar peduncular vein. Coming to the vascular relationship in detail, whenever we describe neurovascular complexes in the posterior fossa, there are three important complexes. Upper complex has the superior cerebellar artery, third, fourth, fifth nerves, cerebellomesencephalic fissure, tentorial surface of the cerebellum, and the superior cerebellar peduncle. The middle complex consists of ICA, 6th, 7th, 8th nerve complex, cerebellopontine fissure, petrosal surface, and middle cerebellar peduncle. The lower complex mainly has the posterior inferior cerebellar artery, 9, 10, 11, 12th nerves, cerebellomedullary fissure, suboccipital surface, and inferior cerebellar peduncle. This particular diagram shows the basilar artery, and the first artery that I would be describing is the superior cerebellar artery. This superior cerebellar artery originates and travels inferior to the oculomotor nerve, and it encircles the pons in the region above the fifth nerve, that is the trigeminal nerve. As you can see here, this is the trigeminal nerve, and the superior cerebellar artery is located superior to it, and it travels below the trochlear nerve to enter into the cerebellomesencephalic fissure and ends up giving precerebellar branches which supply the tentorial surface of the cerebellum. When describing about the anterior inferior cerebellar artery, we need to know the position of 7th, 8th nerves. The anterior inferior cerebellar artery arises from the basilar artery and encircles the pons in the region of the abducent nerve, and when it reaches the 7th, 8th complex, it gives a superior and an inferior branch which enter into the cerebellopontine fissure and supply that fissure along with petrosal surface of the cerebellum. Then we have the posterior inferior cerebellar artery, which is related to the cerebellomedullary fissure. This is the cerebellomedullary fissure, and the posterior inferior cerebellar artery arises in the region of inferior fovea, and it can pass rostral or caudal to the 12th nerve, and passes through the fibers of 9th, 10th nerves, and finally enters into the cerebellomedullary fissure and supplies the corresponding structures. This was about the microsurgical anatomy of fourth ventricle. Thank you.